Welcome to Comical Recovery. I am your host with the most trauma, comedian Jessica Byrne, creator of the upcoming cartoon Bud Ease, winner of multiple East Coast comedy contests, and 35 consecutive years of life experience from the School of Hard Knocks, aka trauma. Yes. Subscribe. Hit the like button for recognition. Tell all your friends about your new addiction, because sharing is caring. Welcome back. On this episode of Comical Recovery, we are going to dive deep into yoga. How's that for a curveball? My understanding of yoga, or what I was taught the definition was, is the yoking of the mind, body, and spirit. And if you've been listening to the topics this month, we have been talking about emotions and how they live in your body and they can be in a guiding system and how the body keeps score. It's just all about really being guided by your intuition and knowing what that looks like by listening to your emotions or the physical sensations, aka pain, in your body. It doesn't always have to be pain. It can be a physical sensation. Keep your mind out of the gutter for that one. Kiddos, this is PG 90% of the time. 10% of the time it is not. Or is it? I don't know. Anyways, let me get back on topic. The hard thing about yoga, in my opinion, is actually dealing with your emotions. No one tells you that you're going to go in downward dog and want to bawl your brains out. No one tells you you're going to be in pigeon and want to throat punch your neighbor. These are things that we keep to ourselves. What's happening is it is going into the energetic center. We talked about chakras this month as well. If you haven't listened to that particular podcast, I highly recommend going back for this month because it is all about energy and emotion in the body, how to navigate that, how to find out how your childhood has affected that, etc. So when you're in these different positions, some of them open up your heart chakra, your root chakra, and all lead to listening and aligning up to the crown chakra, if you so choose. In my opinion, class can be really difficult because of those overwhelming feelings that come over you that generally don't make any sense. I mean, unless you've been practicing for a while, memories don't necessarily attach themselves to the emotions that you're feeling. And in my opinion, that's God doing for you what you can't do for yourself, because your memories don't need to pop up in unnecessary times. That's sometimes why we have overwhelming emotions. The more overwhelming they are, the higher likelihood of them being attached to something from the deep, deep past. So, having those emotions in a classroom full of people can be really overwhelming and make you want to run out of the room. Yoga is much more than working out just your body. It's a bridge to actually hearing your body. And there are some that believe that your body is this ancient wealth of wisdom and knowledge. Some, meaning me, I believe that. And an hour to 90 minutes is an opportunity for me, personally, me and my body and my emotions, to have a deep, heartfelt conversation about what's really going on within me. I realize that sometimes that can be a breaking factor for me. I don't want to feel old feelings. I treat old wounds like people in my past by brushing them off and ignoring them, because that's the adult thing to do. But that tactic is no longer serving me, and I'm honestly not sure it ever did. Excuse me while I clear my throat. Today I know I have to keep going back to this practice if I'm going to heal. I need my emotions to get time to speak, to finally be heard and given the attention it so desperately seeks outside of itself. And the more I get grounded in this place where I learn what's going on in my body, in my emotions, and in my intuitive guiding system, the more I begin to eliminate people in my life that do not honor that space for me, because I am now newly practicing and honoring that space of listening to myself, and not in a self-absorbed way, but in a, hey, hanging out with this person makes me want to throw up, literally kind of way. Maybe that is not the friendship for me. Or this person is ignoring me and no longer treats me like a friend. In fact, treats coworkers she despises and talks shit about better than me, her supposed friend. And it's upsetting me and disrupting my serenity. So I need to find a solution to that issue. And part of the solution is just taking time to better myself, to listen to what my needs are, and to recognize that not every friendship or relationship in my life is serving the best outcome for me. So, back to topic with yoga. What I also love about it is finding good instructors. There are places you can go where you can get a quote-unquote workout for your body with an instructor. They will guide you in how to have proper form and not hurt yourself and be very atomically correct and anatomically, you know what I mean, anatomy. Anatomy is what I'm talking about. But then there are these beautiful creatures that add your emotion into your body while they're teaching you. And they say things like, if you feel anger in your hips, it's okay. That's where it lives. It's hanging out there. Get to know it. Sit in it. Experience and feel it fully. Which may be scaring all of you off. That might be a horrifying thought. But I am here to say it's ultimately the most gratifying thing I could do for myself. I'm always looking for a teacher that is not in the traditional workout mindset of pushing past your limits. I'm looking for someone who is more gentle and guides you to look for your limits. Treating them like a hidden gem that you get to discover, a new territory that you are exploring. Some days I don't want to go into that territory at all, and other days I want to cross into it quickly, sometimes too quickly. In these movements, my muscles and parts of my body are able to speak from the location of tension. If I relate the location of pain in my body or discomfort or tension, as I said, then I have a roadmap to what's bothering me emotionally and what part of my body is experiencing that pain and discomfort. This train of thought could be overwhelming and hard to believe for some, but for me it works. And I don't always want to use this tool because I don't always want to look at the emotional area of discomfort in my life. It's hard and scary, and it requires action and maintenance. It's also worth it. When you make it through and you get to the other side, it is the best, most natural high that I have experienced yet. And life is this roller coaster of emotions anyways, so we may as well make it a roller coaster that brings me into a new growth point. Not one that I'm riding because it's a roller coaster and I know that I'm comfortable with, that I have no control over, and get surprised from traumatized dips and turns that haunt me forever. AKA toxic relationships and such. And all of that stuff comes from these places, when we get into a job that doesn't serve us and we're constantly having back pain, we think it's because we're bending over the same way over and over again. But in reality, it could just be that the exchange of time for effort isn't balanced in that particular place. Yet we keep trying to make it work. We keep trying to put a square peg into a round hole. So this hot yoga studio that I attend has a challenge for August. So I signed up, and it was a 30-day challenge. You can do it for 30 days. You can pick the kind of challenge that you want. I picked 30. I ended up doing 6 or 7. I thought it was 7. I think the stickers on the board were 6. And I really wanted my goal to be letting go of the emotions stored in my hips. And even though I made it to class way less than the goal that I wanted, it still helped me release whatever was happening in my hips and encouraged me to continue the journey on my own. Sometimes there's like these really neat areas in life, like yoga, that you can practice overcoming different challenges. And that's what I use the movement of my body for. I use it for, challenges that I can create. I am a firm believer that if you don't have a plan for your life, someone else will. And if you're not prepared for some sort of frustration in your day, something will be that resistant force. So why not go after the resistant force myself? This yogic space makes for meditation. There's so many neat things. I had all these things written, and it's like a essay. So I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to talk. Because the same challenge I have with showing up to yoga is happening in other parts of my life, because I'm getting busy and making excuses and not putting things into perspective and priority. And yoga is a self-care practice. It is meant to slow me down. You hold uncomfortable positions, which is why it's relatable to life in my mind. I work at a job that I don't love. That's holding an uncomfortable position. I work with a friend that used to be my best friend, and our friendship is drifting apart. That is an uncomfortable position. And I've been holding that for a lot longer than a few minutes or an hour. I've been holding on to that discomfort in that friendship for months. Yoga is this really neat place where you can focus on you and you work within your limits. I go into class and my conditioned brain tells me I need to do all the positions today. But my nurturing mind says, do what you can. Discover what your limits are. And it's this beautiful conversation that I'd never really had before in my childhood. My parents growing up said things like, you don't have time to cry right now. We have something to do. Mommy needs you. You don't have time to draw or create. Your imaginary friends don't exist. Really fun, loving things were said. And in this hour or 90 minutes that I am yoga-ing, I practice the opposite of what was taught to me. I say to myself, oh, your heart rate is speeding up. Let's just stand here. Oh, you're looking at your arms in a judgmental way. Let's look at the wall instead. I'm probably going to say it wrong, but I believe they call it a drishti, and you find that in the room, and that helps you create stability in your body by staring at something that does not move. And in doing that and in breathing through your practice, you attain a meditative state. And it gives me serenity throughout my entire day. I have to show up. I have to show up in a studio, I mean, I can do it from home, but it is so much better for me to show up among other people. Because once I'm there, I don't want to leave before class ends. And it gives me this opportunity to focus on myself, not in a self-absorbed way, but in a self-aware way. And self-awareness and self-care are like siblings to each other. I don't think you can have one without the other. Not in the healthy way. So yoking the mind, body, and spirit is super important to becoming self-aware. And using the internal guiding system to gain clarity and insight and discover needs. And then you get the perk of being around people that are after the same thing that you're after, which is growth. So clearly, today, maybe it's not clear to you folks out there, whomever is listening, but clearly for me, I am recognizing that today it is a very difficult day for me to record. Everything in life is transitioning, and it's really uncomfortable. And I'm really, really grateful for my yoga practice and every other movement practice that I have. One of which is pole. And I find that dance is like the best way to get emotional junk out, because the music can evoke the feeling, and the movement is my expression without words. And the entire point of this month and all of the discussions for the month of September has been to refocus on how to get in tune with your body, your intuition, your needs, and live the best possible, most awesome life. And even that, like transitioning from a trauma life to a great life, is really uncomfortable. But I get to use practices like yoga to prepare myself. It's like when someone in sports practices their sport, I'm not going to do any yoga competitions or anything, but I have life every day, and there are uncomfortable things in life every single day. So if I show up for an hour or 90 minutes, or even 30 minutes for that matter, hell, 15, if I show up for 15 minutes every day to listen to my body and what I need, my whole life is going to change for the better. I'm going to begin to walk around and feel when my stomach's in knots and recognize that that is a sign that I need to stop and look around and think about who I'm with and what I'm doing. And if that serves me, if I'm giving too much of myself, if I'm sacrificing what I wanted to do in order to please someone else. It's amazing what taking time for yourself does and how it changes your life. What putting yourself first does for you. Because even on the toughest days, emotionally, I can stay in the solution and move towards a happy, joyous, and free day. Thank you guys for joining me. Remember, laughter is the best medicine, and I hope you got a giggle or two out of my quirky little attitude today. Thank you so much for joining me in another episode of Comical Recovery. I will see you all next week. I hope to have my life a little more organized and my thoughts a little more forward. But if you guys keep showing up, I'll keep showing up. So hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, ask questions, whatever you so choose. I hope you're having a beautiful day, an awesome life, and a lovely recovery. Don't forget to pass me around like your favorite doobie, because sharing is caring. Love you, bye.